All right, well, we got one last batch of gambling talk to talk about, and we're on the season
And I
finally.
think it's over. Sounds like it's over anyway, hopefully. But guess you never know. Because because of the legal thing, a lot of it's kind of been trickling out. But from what we hear, it's over. But I don't even remember what we talked about last time. I mean, had the Remsburg thing been out
No, it was
yet?
all
No.
about Deckers,
Oh, so Isaiah Lee and
Joe Brock, and
yeah,
Remsburg, and all those hadn't came out yet. So
yeah.
what's Remsburg is the only one that seems like he might has a chance to actually play. I don't know, just basically based on the rules and the stuff that NCAA's came out with. I think Remsburg's the only one that has a chance to maybe even play at Iowa State again.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be. I think you're right. I mean, I think it's going to be up to the staff and whether the NCAA whether he has a chance. But at least he. I mean, when I read about what he said, at least he's upfront about it. I mean, he said he was betting on the UFC, and then I think maybe a couple games popped in there for college sports by accident, maybe, and he knew it was not something he should be doing, but he did it anyway. So shocker, he's a young guy. We've all done that many times. Thank God I didn't have a smartphone when I was his age because I'd probably still be in jail. But it's, it's too bad. I mean, like the Isaiah Lee thing, from all accounts, he's a good guy. Came from Chicago, played really well during his career. And because he bet $10 on an Iowa State game, his career's over. And I don't think he'll ever play college football anywhere ever again.
No,
unless it's a NAIA or something like that.
I think this year's is COVID year anyway. So
I think he was done it. Okay, so
which
it's too bad. It's tragic. I mean, it really is. I mean,
which I was like thinking more about obviously we've been hammering more about the Decker situation obviously in the last podcast, but just like I was just thinking, I was like, imagine like Iowa State was peaking at. He was maybe I'm not sure Decker's backstory at all if he grew up an Iowa State fan or not, but growing up and seeing Iowa State like flourish and like especially when he was a teen, like growing up and loving football, like that was when Campbell was sparking the Iowa State football into something that we didn't think could even happen. Like, but it really made me think of like how bad he must feel, and how these players are gonna feel sitting at home watching on Saturdays this fall. It just sucks, and especially when you look at the amount of money that they bet and how much they're gonna lose out on because of it. Just sucks, and obviously people make mistakes and people have consequences, but it just stinks that it happened to an Iowa grown kid, and a quarterback that was ready to flourish in the position he probably grew up wanting to be in.
Oh yeah, I mean, jeez. And so he's living a dream. I mean, he was living a dream to play Division I, big time, Power 5 college football, and over a couple bucks, he screwed it away. I mean, that's just reality.
He really had a chance to follow up on Purdy and keep Dave Montgomery left and like Kenny Mwangu left, and then Brees took the reins from them. And we really were hoping that Deckers could keep the reins going on for the quarterback because Purdy, obviously we didn't think Purdy would flourish in the NFL like he has. Obviously he was the last pick in the draft, but still it's just I don't know, it's just like, and also just looking things out, like our staff has already handled some type of situations like this, not the gambling in particular, but a category where we've had many instances where things have run amok. Like either it was in our hand, or was it our problem, or something that outside had maybe our problem, like COVID.
Yeah.
And Jacob Park situation in 2017, which is looked at probably maybe the funnest year in the Campbell era.
Yeah.
And to think Kyle Kemp, the guy who was in that situation, is on the staff to coach the quarterbacks into it. And I think we have obviously things are doom and gloom now because of the offseason was just really weird and kind of awkward to get hyped over something that you can't really talk about because like the players that we'd probably use in the highlights the year before aren't going to play this year. So we have to kind of wait till there's a couple of practices.
There's going to be a lot of practice highlights in the hype tapes.
Yeah, an intro music, like the
right,
intro song. Like, what are they going to use for videos?
I'm running out of the practice facility in August.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jeremiah Cooper catching a pass against Cade Manson. I mean,
It's just
Jeremiah's a safety. Jalen Higgins, or I guess whatever his name is.
Jaden Higgins.
Jaden Higgins, yeah. Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, but in the theme of the betting, I said, screw it. I got out my DraftKings account and bet on the over for victories for Iowa State this year. So I think we're in I'm trying to be a glass half full guy, but I think Campbell's back's against the wall. The troops are kind of rallying around each other. It's not like the cupboard's bare. It's not like we don't have any depth at all. This isn't, 20 years ago when the first string guy went out, then we were screwed. So I said, screw it. I'm just in the theme of betting. I said, why not? I can legally do it. I'm going to bet on Iowa State, and so I did. So I think I'm still looking forward to the season. Rocco is going to get a chance, and any of the quarterbacks are going to have a chance, and we'll see. I mean, I think we got a bunch from all the interviews I've watched, all of the press conference I've watched, everybody's pretty upbeat, and I think they're ready to put this damn thing in the rearview mirror and start talking about football.
Yeah, and I was just thinking earlier before we were driving to come here, it was just like how could this be worse? There's so many ways this thing could be worse. Like we always think, it's happening to Iowa State. Like this, I've caught myself in this mindset the last couple of weeks. Is like, of course it happens to Iowa State. Like we have it. Like we are finally like kind of flourishing, and like obviously we're not the only program going through it, because obviously I was going through it, but just like the level of it, because like there's a lot of starters, and like of course the starters are the quarterback and the running back. Can't be like when I first saw like this flourishing, like, and when it first came out, I was like, hopefully it's just like the second string punter, the fourth string lineman. I was like,
the manager.
But it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I actually did learn something an hour ago or so. I had a meeting and kind of learned how it happened a little bit from what I was told. And, it's the betting guys are the ones that caught it, and they were afraid they were going to get their license pulled if they didn't bring it to the law enforcement's attention when there was some illegal betting going on. Because, if they allow the illegal activity to go on when they know about it, then the state of Iowa could pull their license. And the discussion is okay, sure, what they did is wrong. Totally get it. But where are the charges on the UNI players? Where are the charges on all of the Iowa Conference players, junior college players? Because, it seems like they're targeting the Hawks and the Cyclones. And there's got to be other guys out there that did it. So selective prosecution, you can call it whatever you want. I mean, but I don't know why it's just Iowa State. And, you have to go state by state with the laws. Like, you only have to be 18 to bet in Minnesota. So a freshman could bet on a game at University of Minnesota. However, still wrong as far as the NCAA goes. So it's either going to be this is an isolated incident with Iowa, and they're going to figure out a way to fix it so it doesn't happen to anybody else like Alabama or Clemson or whoever, or law enforcement's going to get involved and they're going to start busting a bunch of people. So who knows? I mean, if they go down the road of trying to find every flippin' kid that has made a bet under their parents' DraftKings account,
or their cousins, or
whatever, there's not enough time in the world. Everybody's doing it. That's the honest to God truth. All you got to do is let them log in under your account.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're smart, you let the parents, I'm not showing you how to do something illegal, but I mean, make sure it's the parent's bank account, make sure it's the parent's account, period. And as long as they don't know who's punching the buttons on their phone, who cares? But these guys were not doing that, obviously. And it's time. It's too bad. It's time to move on. I mean, we're going to keep hearing about this. God, there's so many flippant jokes out there right now. I mean, I made a joke to a guy that's a Hawk fan, and I was at a bar, and the outside of the bar was painted in Iowa State colors, and I said, yeah, it was painted Hawk colors, but everybody kept turning around, so we repainted it so everybody'd come in. And the guy looks at me and goes, I wouldn't bet on it. And I thought that was kind of funny. And I saw another social media today. There was a joke about betting with Iowa State T-shirts, but, it is what it is. I mean, I'm just glad it wasn't Campbell. I'm glad it wasn't, maybe right. Campbell got caught or somebody like that. God knows what would happen what if it would have been somebody in the front office or Jamie's department. I mean, that was involved. Luckily it's not, and unfortunately these kids have got to learn their lesson and move on.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just taking a whole lot of hype out of the into the season. But usually those type of seasons are the ones that we remember the most.
So you're hell of a lot closer to 18 than I am.
Yep.
Would you have done it?
No.
If you were a Division I player, would you have obviously saw that was wrong and it would have risked your eligibility? Can you put yourself in that situation where you might have done it?
If I'm Hunter Deckers and I'm trying to make,
let's take Hunter out of it because we keep banging on Hunter. Let's just call him in general because they all screw up.
Let's just we'll combine. We'll just put Hunter and Gerald Brock because both of them are following NFL players that they just saw how to make the NFL.
Right.
And they just my first process would be how can I make the most money possible, and that would be making the NFL. And anything that goes against that you can't do it.
Do you think that you would have not known it was? You think you would have known it's illegal and not done it, or do you think these guys didn't think they were doing anything wrong?
I think they were probably just. I don't know what their mindset was.
Bulletproof? They thought they could get away with it?
But like what I can't get over my head is all these players, if they're so like if they're obviously they're not doing it for the money, it's for fun because
exactly
the amount of money they were betting that didn't really make them any money because obviously sports betting is impossible anyways. But
Isaiah Lee lost total bets were $800.
But I'm saying Isaiah Lee could have transferred to an SEC school and gotten a huge payday.
Sure, yeah.
And all of the best players could have done that and not even played on the team and got a huge payday. But now they're just going to be.
So do you think the average? Okay, let's take you out of it. Let's just generalize it. When you were 18, and the guys you hung with, let's say you were all Division I players.
Yep.
When you hit college, do you think you guys would have not been one of the people caught up in this?
All right, let's just compare this to like actual life. Like in high school, like you had to pass classes to be eligible.
Right.
So I did everything I could to be eligible.
Right.
No matter what, if I studied or not.
Right.
That type of thinking doesn't apply here at all because they're just doing nonsense gambling that has only been legal for a couple of years.
Yeah.
When Campbell was brought into Iowa State, sports gambling was not legal. Mm-hmm. So this is a new thing. We're the first one to be caught alongside Iowa, which honestly is a huge thing. If it was just us, this would hurt way worse. If Iowa was not a part of this, this would be 10 times worse.
Did we talk about the Arlen Bruce video last time?
Oh, no.
I mean, if you haven't seen that, find it on Twitter. I mean, it's bad against Nebraska.
I didn't see the Nebraska one. I just saw the Iowa State one.
I saw the Nebraska one where he supposedly, I think they said he bet against Iowa and fumbled a punt against Nebraska. I mean, tripped going into the end zone with untouched. I mean,
if that's
anyway, I don't want to talk. I mean, I'm going by memory here. I apologize if he's not right, so don't get mad at me. But I guess so. The other side of the coin is if parents are involved where they're letting them use their bank accounts to shuffle the money, are they culpable in this too?
Yeah, I mean, they should have to come to the facility and run sprints. They should.
see some moms and dads running up at the stadium.
If the parents said no, like they could have saved their kid's career, but they said yes or just allowed it happen and just saw their kid fall off the bike right in front of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It stinks because I had so much potentially, like Deckers had so much potential. Gerald Brock had so much potential.
I think Gerald Brock and Hanukkah are the two ones that stand out to me because I thought Hanukkah played really well last year. Jarrell just never, he's always injured. He played behind Brees, and now this happens. I mean, it's just because I've never heard a negative word about Jarrell from anybody. And I just feel bad for all of them. I mean, I think it's an unbelievably tough lesson. And, luckily they're not going to have a documentary made about themselves like the Johnny Manziel thing that's out there right now. I mean, that's a train wreck too. But, it's too bad. I mean, but we got a lot of positive things that we can talk about.
Yeah, I mean, what if this could have happened and, like, imagine if Campbell had already left and we, like, had Deckers and Brock and we had players left over from the Campbell era that was like, finally, at least we have these core players back, which I don't know. It's just time to move on, and hopefully, I mean, I just hope the players get like mental health treatment or something, because I would need all of it if I was them, because that's just
what about the coaches? How'd you like to be in that coach's room if they didn't know it was coming down the pipe?
Their check's clear no matter what, not the kids.
Doesn't matter. But can you imagine, recruiting, I think recruiting is really hard nowadays with NIL.
Yeah.
And you get these guys to campus finally.
And they're actually like really good.
And they're good. And then they've paid their dues. They've been in the weight room doing all the off-season crap. And bang, August comes around and blows up in their face and they're done.
Yep.
How much time they've invested in these kids. Obviously, they're getting paid for it. I get that. But still, they're human beings. And this is their job. And they're investing a lot of time in them. I mean.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Like you said, would have you done it when you're 18? Obviously I said no, but like you have no idea.
You have no idea.
It was like it wasn't legal back, because it wasn't illegal back when I was 18.
I just don't know how much I would have gotten wrapped up in it. I mean, I didn't have a lot of, my parents and us didn't have a lot of extra money hanging around just to play around with that anyway. And I don't like gambling in general. I mean, I walked into the Wild Rose Casino in Jefferson last week for the first time I've been in a casino probably in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and DraftKings is, I bet, I use DraftKings during basketball and football season, and that's it. I mean, I just don't. I don't like losing, and if you're going to do that, you're going to lose a lot.
Yep. So, and did you see the Blindside stuff?
Yeah. There's new stuff that came out today.
Oh, I didn't see the new stuff.
Yeah. So supposedly the parents have come out and said something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that's a story that's unraveling as we speak. I mean, I think. It sounds like this kid is still worth, $12 million. And so he obviously played in the NFL a while. But him not getting a dime from the movie, the adoption thing not being true. I know his little brother that was in the movie, that the real version of it has come out and said something. I haven't had time today to read it, but I know if you haven't read what's going on today, we're neither one up to speed on it.
Oh, okay.
But if it's all BS, I mean, we love that movie. We've watched that thing a million times.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Didn't you read that book too?
I was supposed to read it. Mrs. Ford gave me a like challenge to read it, and actually I actually still have the book. I looked at it a couple like months ago, and my bookmark thing was Royce White's picture.
Oh wow!
Because he would just on campus, and that was his first year. Yeah. He had a red shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't comment on it because I would sound like a moron and people be yelling at the radio or whatever, because I know I'm not up to speed on what happened today.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. And also,
it's too bad.
I just wrote a couple questions. What are you most confident about right now in the Iowa State football program?
On the way over here, I listened to the special teams coordinator's press conference, and he's pretty impressive. I mean, I can't believe we didn't have one.
Yeah.
And he made it, he's also the running back coach. So Sheldon Croney is one of his grad assistants now.
Okay.
And so Roy Walling is one of the special team grad assistants too. He made a comment of some about Eli Sanders and some of the guys, and he goes, when you're a running back, you have to be this, and I'm going to butcher this, but he said the 70 versus 7 mentality. When you're in high school, it was sometimes easy to get 70. It's not easy to get 70 yards at this level, but you need to be able to get 7. And sometimes maybe it's just 3.5. So he's pretty high on the young guys. The kid from Minnesota, that they're, somebody compared him to Christian McCaffrey because he's so versatile, and they can't believe how fast he is. And I'm sorry, I forgot his name off the top of my head. I'll have to look it up. And then the kid from Southeast Polk, Sama, I believe his name is, extremely talented. He's pretty high on him. But he said, if you thought Cartavius Norton was big last year, he is really big this year. His neck starts at the top of his head. I mean, he is put together. And they said he referred to him as a tough tackle. Just got, he's just a big, strong kid. And with Eli Sanders, these two freshmen got plenty of talent in the running backs room. But him breaking down the purpose of special teams and the fact that they're making the kickers do tough kicks in front of the team on a regular basis. I'm pretty excited about the special teams, to be honest with you. I think we finally got somebody that's their focus. I don't think we've had anybody that's been really their focus. I really can't wait to see what Shieldhouse does with the offense. And now you got the, Darren Wall, he's a young kid. This is his first big time opportunity. When the Hunter Deckers things went down, he probably lived in that facility trying to figure out what am I going to do now and changing things up based on talent. So did listen to Tyler Miller interviewed, our big offensive lineman. I think that it sounds like this kid, the Clan kid, that's not a kid, he's a coach, but is making a big impact, letting the seniors lead and trying to simplify things a little bit. So, bottom line is we got to come out of non-conference 2-1. I mean, somehow, some way, and at bare minimum. And I think we're going to know, like you and I have said this a million times, the first series against you and I always really says a lot about how the season's going to go. If we're having trouble getting a push in the offensive line, we're having trouble running the ball, we might fumble the opening kickoff, kick it out of bounds, miss the first field goal. Any of that crap happens in the first quarter.
Which, looking back at this season, I think it'll be similar to the 2004 season, which I'm a geek for knowing this, but
yeah, you are a geek.
So we played Northern Illinois first game. There's barely anyone in the crowd.
What year are we talking?
2004.
So you were how old?
I watched on YouTube. So
okay. I was going to say, if you remember this from when you were a kid, you're crazy.
So we scored. I think it was like pick 6 or something.
And I think Northern Illinois was really good back then.
They were. I mean, they've always been pretty good players, but we had first PAT misses it. And then same kicker. I'm not even know his name. I should know his name because trauma, but
because of the trauma.
But I'm saying start of that season and then end of that season, missed the kick against Missouri that would have put us in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah. So that McCartney's last game?
No, that was 2004. Yeah. It was Brett Meyer and Todd Blythe were freshmen.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Stevie Hicks I'm not sure how old he was, but yeah, it's brutal. Start a year out with a missed PAT and then miss like a 25-yard field goal to go to the Big 12 championship, which was the biggest whiff ever against Missouri. If you were there, I'm sorry. I'm glad you didn't bring me there.
I was not there.
You didn't bring me that,
yeah. I was not at the Missouri game.
I give you gripe.
I was coaching basketball then, and we'd already started practice by then, probably.
And I give you gripe for the games you didn't take me to, but I should give you praise for the ones you didn't bring me to.
Have we ever told the story of the Texas game on the pod?
I don't think so.
So you were how old?
It was around the same time, honestly.
So you big Iowa State fans out there, remember when Boddicker was the guy shooting the free throws for Texas, and the place was absolutely bananas, and he was a pretty good free throw shooter, and he misses a couple free throws to help us win a game against Texas when Jake Sullivan was playing.
Yeah.
And you were with us. We were staying overnight in a hotel with one of Mom's really good friends and their family, and you were in trouble with me, and I was mad at you, so I made you stay back in the hotel room.
So I had to watch it on TV in Ames.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, that was, and you have never let me live that down.
Yeah, because, I mean, for a longest time, that
was because I was trying to get you to read The Blind Side.
Yeah, right. It's like nonfiction, yeah. And so
the kid, Carson Hansen's the kid from Minnesota that's supposed to be really, really good. Everybody's pretty high on. But Cortavious Norton, Eli Sanders, Abu Sama from Southeast Polk, Carson Hansen, all of those kids are, everybody's really high on in the running back room. So I think we're pretty set there. But again, offensive line is what I'm going to be looking at when the first game rolls around, and I just hope we're healthy by then. But we won't know if we're healthy or who's playing or who's not until that morning.
Yep.
Campbell is so stoic when it comes to that.
Yeah, I remember Jake Remsburg was hurt for literally the whole year. Remember it was against the first game until 2020. Or was it 2020? I don't remember. So the years have gone by so fast lately, and I just can't especially if this is gonna be to every offseason where we can't if we look at our team and we have to really dig deep and figure out which players are who and the conference let alone the conference. I have no
BYU,
idea.
Cincinnati.
I'm not saying in the new, let alone take away the new schools altogether. Just the new players every single year that transfer away.
Oh yeah,
come in it's a mess.
Yeah. Well, that kid that is in the middle of this gambling thing from Iowa is playing for Oklahoma State. He transferred to Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
One of the kind of cool stories is that one of the running backs that's a redshirt junior is Blaze Doxson. That name ring a bell?
No.
Todd Doxson was his dad. He was a quarterback at Iowa State back in the 90s. So, and there's a kicker for Iowa that was really good. That his dad played for Iowa State too. That should have been
or something. Like
Yeah.
that. Can't remember his name.
Shudak, yeah. Yeah, and I guess the tight end that we got as a freshman, Bramer, is Ben Bramer from Pierce, Nebraska, is the true freshman. I guess he's been turning heads. So I think we are going to be able to absorb the Hanukkah thing. So I don't know. I think we've got plenty of wide receivers. We got a new offensive coordinator. We're just talking out our butt right now, trying to figure out how good we're going to be. I mean,
when I asked you what are you most confident about Iowa State football, and you said special teams. The first thing
I think you said one I'm most excited about.
I said, what are you most confident about?
Most confident about
Iowa State football right now.
I can't say there's one thing that I'm most confident. I would say our D-backs maybe.
John Haycock.
John Haycock.
Why don't we always forget about him?
Yeah.
Well, we have the top 5 best DC in the whole country.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, he's really good, and I'm glad he's still with us.
Just turn on some Paul Rhodes defensive tape and see 12 yards every play.
Every time I strain spaghetti, I think of the defense back then.
It was bad.
It was just a sieve. Everything was just mining for gold, and all those rocks falling through is how it seemed like every time we would score and then go to the other end, and they score again. So we got to try to beat somebody by 60 to 55.
Let's take away Leonard Johnson and Jeremy Reeves. Our cornerbacks were just not up to par in that era. And it's just crazy to think we have Miles Purchase and TJ Tampa, who's Pro Football Focus came out with today.
Top 5
cornerback prospect for the NFL draft next year.
And Jeremiah Cooper is, going to be a true sophomore, and he's, Mother Nature's helped him put on some weight too, so he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And we got Bo Freiler still back there. I mean, I think, question mark probably linebackers. I mean, Will McLaughlin has obviously gotten a lot bigger. He got on the field from Harlan last year. The Sadowski kid is a freshman. They're talking about being the next Mike Rose, possibly. I mean, so yeah, it should be fun. Doesn't matter. It's going to be should be good weather that time of the year when we play UNI. Get the Hawks at home. Have to go to Ohio for a road non-conference game, and then we go into the meat grinder after that. So. Got to come out of non-conference 2-1 at least and healthy. Mm-hmm. That's what my hope anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like we have a lot of. We just need one quarter where this whole offseason will wash away. I feel like we just need one good quarter, get 14-0 against UNI. I know every time we wish it to happen, it just never.
How about making a 50-yard field goal and watching Jack Trice just go absolutely freaking bananas? That would be fun.
But the thing is, with Iowa State fans, we have to see it more than once.
Yeah.
We can't just be one time.
Yeah.
We had Mevis. I think if we take away Mevis, I would think we even think worse about our kickers.
Sure.
Because take away Mevis and I can't remember the 2017 kicker, but he was pretty good too. But take away those 2 kickers, we've had, Ass Alley's hit 25-yard game winners. Other than that, PATs.
Yeah.
But other than that, we've had some pretty rough special teams.
Yeah.
And it seems like every time it happens, and it's always the worst and dumbest thing that happens to other teams. Like the
running into each other at the end of the Iowa game still stands out to me.
Like the TCU game where it was 5-10 yards above his head and hits the ref. Remember that? It hits the ref and the ball hits the ref and the ball stays in play.
No, I don't remember that.
It was against TCU. We were down by a lot.
Oh.
You probably turned it off 45 minutes before that even happened. But yeah, so I don't know. It's just we need someone to kick the ball off and to kick it in the back of the end zone and to just make an extra point.
Yeah.
Why can't we find someone that can do that?
Well, hopefully we did this year.
But I don't know.
So what's next on your rundown?
So last couple, obviously take away the gambling situation. The conference realignment stuff has been nuts this year.
We're heading down the road to 3 conferences or whatever.
And Colorado, it'll be fun to cheer for Colorado in the Pac-12 because they'll be a fun team to watch no matter what because Dion and will have such a fun style and I'm not sure if that team will win 0 games or go undefeated.
Yeah, right. That's kind of the way I feel about it too. That'd be fun. Deion's such a sideshow, but I think he's man. If you watch any highlights of Deion when he was a player, boy, tell you what, that guy was a gifted athlete.
And also, he doesn't exactly fail at much.
No, he doesn't. No. So it'll be the realignment thing has been.
I feel like with him, it kind of feels like a Fred Hoiberg thing, where obviously Fred couldn't really figure it out the Bulls in Nebraska because those are kind of they're dead end jobs, I'd say, because you go to the Bulls when whatever.
Yeah. So what do you think about the new running back for the Jets?
Oh, I mean, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
I think he'll just show how much better Brees is than him.
Oh,
I think it'll be great just to have split snaps with him, but it gives Brees some breathing room finally. Probably since he's had Kenny as his backup. But
yeah, it's going to be the Jets are flipping loaded.
I know.
I mean, man, this would be probably the most NFL I've watched in my life this year.
But like the thing with the Jets could be very similar to what Brees and Brock's last year at Iowa State.
Yeah.
Nothing will happen if you can't block anyone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because you can have all the receivers and running backs you want. Like Brees and David Montgomery saw a lot of contact before they even got the ball sometimes.
David did too. David was a pinball until he got to the line of scrimmage most games. Did you see the end of the Chiefs preseason game the other day?
Nope.
So they've got their third string quarterback in, I think, and they're up 1. And all they've got to do is get like one more first down. And he throws it to the right side, and a defensive lineman sticks his arm out, knocks the ball up in the air, and intercepts it at their 20, and Chiefs lose. But then it's such a typical preseason thing. Mahomes is laughing. Coach of the Chiefs is laughing because it doesn't really matter. I mean, but
it'd be funny if they just like cut him on the spot.
Yeah, it's like give me your uniform right here. You're gone.
I think that would make preseason more.
They could cut him on the field.
Like if you get beat on a like cornerback, they have to just like walk out of the stadium.
Yeah, you're done.
You're done.
See ya.
So like it would make it way
Well,
more.
who was the wide receiver that took his uniform off and what's his
Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown.
Where he just started cheering. It was a road game too, which is even more bizarre.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What's that say?
Brees Hall's practicing, and you see Will McDonald. And
he got his first sack.
Tristan Wirfs today. He swing moved Tristan Wirfs.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. The Bucks, like he's one of the best left tackles or right tackle, best tackles in the NFL.
So when did that happen?
Today.
Oh, they have. Is Tristan Wirfs on the Jets?
No, they have like joint practices. Like,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Which usually that's where all the fights, like all the fight videos come.
Okay.
That's where. So the Bucks are coming to the Jets and they practice each other. And apparently, Will McDonald just blew past Tristan Wirfs, which Tristan Wirfs is like one of the best linemen ever coming to Iowa, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
And Wirfs is no joke. And Will McDonald I can't wait to watch him.
Yeah, I hope he stays healthy and this has a blow up year. That'd be a lot of fun for him because everything we hear is that he's just a really good human being. So, So does this say new beer trend?
Yep.
What are we talking about there?
So like I was at Iowa City and they had, I'm not sure what beer brewing it was, but it was like the new Iowa State beer. And
the Swarm,
no,
the
Iowa
Iowa
one. It was the one.
Ames Lager,
the one with the Psy on it. Psy's
because that doesn't come out to August 24th.
Well,
This is by Westo. I stopped at Westo Okoboji, the brewery in Milford this week, and asked them if we get a free sample to hype them on the pod, and they would not do it.
Well, I held the can, so whatever that is, it's pretty sick.
The can
is so sweet.
You're talking about the Ames Lager, right? Because now
not the Ames Lager.
That's what the We Will one. The We Will beer is the Ames Lager.
I think there's 3 of them. There's the We Will Ames Lager one. There's the school one, I think.
I don't know.
It has Psy on it.
Bud Light's got one,
and then
too, that has Iowa State on it.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's a whole new thing because now Iowa State's got a vodka.
If I knew,
and they got coffee.
If I drank beer, I'd know what it is, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think I talked about the Swarm beer last time. I mean, I got it at El Bait Shop in Des Moines, and it was a smaller glass for the same amount of money. So,
yeah, you see that Iowa's going to play women's basketball in Carver. or not Carver, Kinnick.
What?
Yeah, they're gonna have a game.
Yeah, they're going to milk the Caitlin
Yes.
Clark train as much as they can, boy.
Yes, they will.
Did you say that a butter version of Caitlin Clark? If I was Caitlin, I would have gone in there with a blowtorch.
Yeah.
That thing was not. No, that was ridiculous.
That'd be kind of strange to see yourself in butter.
No, you actually said that out loud.
I would. Imagine walking.
That
up
is the
and, like,
strangest statement anybody's ever said in their life.
No, imagine.
It would be really strange to see yourself as a butter statue.
No, imagine being good enough that people are like, "Hey, we should make you out of butter."
There's a lot of jokes there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of film stars that would have been interesting to be made out of butter.
What else is going on? I guess UConn and Gonzaga are not going to join the Big 12. That came out today. That seems to be done. Not going to happen.
Yeah, because I don't think we're going after anybody else right now, right?
Because of which I don't know if I'd rather have ASU or Gonzaga or UConn, because I don't like the new Pac-12 schools. Like as a whole, sure we'll bring them, but like if we start nitpicking these schools, I feel like we could. I don't know, because I'm more thinking about the basketball.
Right.
Because
our basketball conference in general right now is freaking loaded.
Yes, it is.
I mean, Houston. I mean, God, BYU is going to be good.
But and like Scott Drew himself made Baylor into a basketball program.
Yeah.
Like before that, like Baylor was not anything. Like
right.
Just think about Baylor's realignment. Like think about when they were in 2010, 2011, or whenever the first realignment was going around. Just think about they just blew up their basketball program since then. Like they had, like it was like before then it was just like nothing. You didn't think about Baylor basketball for anything.
Baylor had a guy kill another player.
Obviously I'm saying for good. Like Baylor's like a household national championship type program.
Right, yeah. With Scott Drew, one of the most positive people on the planet. But he still has a program that 10 years before that, one of the teammates shot the other one. I mean, it's crazy. And then think about Baylor in general. They served their basketball team won the national championship, and 20 years before that, a teammate shot another teammate. Then the football program goes straight Jeffrey Epstein with Baylor football. It wasn't underage guys, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And then they were fantastic. Still a good program. So I mean, Baylor is bulletproof when it comes to scandals. It seems like.
Yeah, it's just kind of strange.
Let's imagine either one of those things would have happened to Iowa State.
I know.
Death penalty.
Which, like the Larry...
we'd be at JUCO.
The only thing that we can compare it to is Larry drinking a beer in the minor thing.
Larry's thing was pretty... I mean,
I'm saying, like, as a PR thing, that's, like, the only thing that's even close to that.
Yeah, Larry's thing still bugs me because I think we could have worked through that. I said at the time it could have been a great success story. He obviously had a drinking problem, and if we would have just got him some help, and then all of a sudden we won the Big 12 again, that would have been a great success story. But I don't think the AD at the time had any time for Larry and just wanted to cut him loose. So
yeah. I mean, obviously I was freaking 4 when that happened, but
yeah,
it was a bummer. And which I don't know. Obviously, Cyclophanak is trying to get Larry Eustace interview, and I'm looking forward to hearing that because. I don't know. I'm just interested to hear him on a podcast, like how much in depth he'll actually go and the stories and stuff.
I heard when he was
how open of a
how real he's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So he I heard him interviewed when he was at Colorado State, and they were asking him about, what do you miss about coaching the Big 12? And he goes, well, I obviously missed the paycheck. So he was pretty upfront about he'd taken a major pay cut because of his. I mean. The stories that I've heard about Larry's days at Iowa State are just crazy. And I've heard people say, he was just a whack job in practice. But then they follow it up by saying he was also a genius. And I've heard them say the same. Tim Floyd didn't have the drinking problem, but they also said Tim Floyd was a crazy man, but he was also a genius. I mean, they were really good coaches. Unfortunately, Larry's drinking problem got the best of him, and the rest is history. But I think we're in pretty good shape basketball wise. So
yeah, that thing kind of turned around, and it just seems like we have the right pieces in place for all of our athletic departments right now.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Jamie and the person you got to give credit for is Jamie. I mean, Jamie has been the maestro in that, organizing things, and
like the wrestling hire nailed it.
Take the Gene Chizik hire out of the
and
mix, and Steve Prohm out of the mix, and those are 2 swings and misses. But yeah, I mean,
Prone
otherwise,
was more of like a foul ball.
he was like pitching a grapefruit in a slow pitch game.
We've hammered Prome.
Yeah, we've
on this
done that. We don't
podcast.
need to turn that into this again. So,
Which, like, to think the depths of hell we were in 2020, like, to now, it's just like seeing every time I see Omaha in a highlight, I'm like, how the hell did we get here?
Yeah.
How the hell?
I'm going to tell you what, though. He's still, I mean, I've said this before. I'm going to repeat myself. He's a great rebounder, great defender, is fantastic around the rim, but to go to the next level, he's got to be able to shoot. And so that's the only thing that might make, that's the only thing if I was a pro scout that I would be is my criticism of him. But he makes up for it in so many other things because he plays so hard. He's so intense. He looks like he's a great teammate. But, that shooting thing, when you go to – everybody can do that in the NBA. And so the shooting thing is the one that is kind of got to get turned around a little bit. But
Which I think there's a role for him like a Draymond Green type player that's like a slasher. And I don't know. He just seems to have like everything TJ wants in a like 5-star kid is in Omaha. Like come from Iowa, rebounds, hustles, harder than anyone on the court. And just throwing that in with Robert Jones and Hans Ward.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty good deal.
So did you see have you seen the social media clip of Draymond Green and Payton, Gary Payton? Is that his name? The guy that was a glove?
Oh, no.
They were talking about trash talkers. And what am I thinking? I've got the wrong name. Is that
Gary Payton, the glove?
Yeah, he's Gary. It's Gary Payton, right? Yeah.
Supersonics?
Yeah, so he was talking about how big of a crap talker that Larry Bird was, and Draymond goes like, "You and I talk," or in general goes, "Oh man, he was just," and he goes on about this whole thing about how much he would talk. It's so funny because Larry Bird was so good, and these guys and all of these vets that are all Hall of Famers have so much respect for him that I think it's kind of cool because, and I don't know how many people know this, but Larry's got run out of the NBA because of his back and
shoving his
own gravel in the summer is what ruined his back. So yeah. Yeah, so did you watch any of the Big Three, that 3-on-3 tournament Ice Cube run? So I watched it this weekend. I texted you because I said, you're not going to believe this, but Mike Taylor, you Iowa State fans remember him, was playing, and he can still play. I mean, he is up for the MVP of the league. He's the captain of his team, and his team was getting their butts kicked, and he helped them come back. And he can really play for being an older dude. I mean, and it was fun because then the next game was Royce. Royce and his team played, and Royce is not old Royce. I mean, he is old Royce because he is getting older, but he's still big. They were still doing they did the same thing with him that we did at Iowa State. They tried to do a 1-4, spread him out and let Royce go one-on-one with his guy, and he was doing the same between the legs dribble, and he can still do it. I mean, so they have a thing that I still never get my mind wrapped around, that if you have a shooting foul in the Big Three, then they have a button you push and the Taco Bell theme plays, and then you do called Bring the Fire, and then you go one-on-one rather than shooting a free throw. And so Royce, they did Bring the Fire, and Royce had to go one-on-one. Royce is on offense with this guy, and he just freaking bullied him. Got him down low and took him to the basket. So it's fun. I mean, I heard Ice Cube interviews saying the NBA is totally against him, trying to keep him off TV, doesn't want the Big Three to succeed. And so he's been really fighting. And these games were on CBS, which I was surprised. And but it's entertaining. I mean, there's not a lot of people in the stands. I'm sure there's not a lot of people watching it, but boy, there's some guys that can still play. And the 3-on-3 thing, they have a 4-point shot. It's a first one to 50. There's no shot. There's 14-second shot clock, I believe. So if you had a chance to watch it, it's worth playing. And it's the Ghost Ballers, I think, is Mike Taylor's team. So if you get a chance to watch it, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I remember when that came out, like 2017. I watched like a couple games and haven't turned it on since.
Yeah, I thought it was. I mean, if there was no Iowa State connection, I probably wouldn't have watched it. But
they're trying to find something to fit in that just like awkward area if you don't like baseball.
But I was surprised. I was surprised when Ice Cube said that the NBA wants no part of it. They're pushing back on it because he thinks they're trying to change the game.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of coaches that spend a lot of time doing 3-on-3 in practice.
Yeah.
Because 3-on-3 is basically just a small portion of the game.
It's kind of like the first level of like basketball you play, like kind of when I was little, it was the 3-on-3 tournaments.
Right, yeah. So you know what Ice Cube is also trying to do? He's trying to take this to football now. He's trying to do a 7-on-7 league with guys. With professional athletes. That would be kind of fun. Remember, because I think Seneca played in a flag football thing or something. Did you see him on social media last week? I think he turned 43. I'm sorry, Seneca, if I got that wrong. But every year he does it where he does a backflip. And so he films it, and he can still do a standing still, no steps or anything, straight up backflip, and his kids come running out. And he's still really a great athlete.
Yeah, it's just...
So I found a new debate thing. I'm going to blindside you with this. So when you're ready to go, we're going to do. So we did the Casey's Pizza Quick Star thing. Do you want to do the new one? All right. So we're going to. So I'm try to eat as healthy as I can. You guys, some of the people know me personally know that I topped out when I was in my 30s at 272 pounds, which was about 70 pounds ago. And so I've tried to eat healthy and take care of myself for a long time because I don't want to. I'm not on any pharmaceuticals, and I try not to be on any pharmaceuticals. That's my whole goal. So I don't eat a lot of pizza, but that is still one of my vices is pizza. I love pizza. So I want you to tell me which pizza do you think is better and why. We're going to beat on Casey's again, but Casey's Pizza versus Pizza Ranch Pizza.
Casey's, not even close.
So give me your reasons why.
Pizza Ranch is not good.
Oh, come on. Pizza Ranch pizza is not good?
I mean, I live in Clarion, obviously. It's the only pizza place, I mean, other than Fuel. But, yeah, every time.
So why don't
what's
better about Casey's Pizza versus Pizza Ranch? What's your favorite? Well, you still eat just cheese and pepperoni, basically?
No, just like, it's the aftermath almost. Really. Because the amount of times I've heard someone eating Pizza Ranch and then getting sick afterwards is pretty high.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
My girlfriend Jess has tried Pizza Ranch. She's from Wisconsin for the first time, got sick.
No kidding.
Yep.
Wow. I've never heard that before.
Derek, my cousin, every time he eats it, gets sick.
So, but you're all eating in the same one, so maybe it's the kitchen, not the Pizza Ranch. So when I'm on the road, I try to find a place that I can eat something healthy. And Pizza Ranch's buffet, you can actually get in and out of that place and eat fairly healthy. You're not going into Casey's and getting anything healthy. I hate to tell you. You can try the best you can. Maybe get a protein bar and a thing of water, and that's about as best you can do. But I am still a big fan of Casey's Pizza, though. I think it is really good. I mean, they're really easy to deal with. I've bought a lot of pizza for your brother's basketball team last year, and I've worked with many different Casey's around the state, and they're really easy to work with. But the Pizza Ranches I've dealt with, they said, like during a basketball game, we get done at 9:15 a lot of times. They tell me I'd have to go get the pizza by 8 o'clock. And I said, I'm going to be sitting at a basketball game. I'm not going to go get it. So I always had to default to Casey's. And I don't know. I'm still a big fan of Casey's Pizza, but, I haven't tried the new flat one. There's a new thin crust pizza that they do. I haven't tried that one yet. But, I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I mean, Pizza Ranch is much more creative with their flavors.
I think they're about as consistent as their spokesman at Kirk Cousins.
Have you watched Quarterback? I have a lot of respect for Kirk Cousins, but
I don't know.
So I guess if I had a vote, you obviously are Casey's all the way. I mean, if I had a vote, I don't know. I think I might lean towards Pizza Ranch maybe just because there's a variety of it. You don't have to just get cheese, pepperoni, sausage, whatever.
Breakfast pizza. Casey's.
Breakfast pizza will put you in the flipping grave.
Oh,
breakfast pizza tastes kind of good, but it's nasty.
It's better than the whole restaurant of Pizza Ranch.
I don't agree.
That one slice pizza is better than anything Pizza Ranch has left.
I don't agree. Yeah, I think if you left a Casey's breakfast piece of pizza in your garage for a week, it'd start to walk on its own.
Well, the good thing you do about it, you buy it, then you eat it right away.
But you ever seen what they've done with the McDonald's hamburger? There's somebody that put it on.
I've seen that.
Put it like 10 years. It's been in the package for 10 years and it looks exactly the same. Yeah, there's not a lot of hamburger in a McDonald's hamburger. Anyway, so all right, so we're going to be
And,
split
like,
on that.
Pizza Ranch is not as fast as
No, it's
Casey's.
true. Yeah, you can walk in at 2:00 in the morning if a Casey's is open and get a piece of pizza. That's true.
Like,
It's usually pretty good.
plus, if you go to Casey's, get your sliced pizza. You're not going. If you go to Pizza Ranch, you get the buffet, spending $17.
Yeah, they have jacked up, but they also they've got
But
a
dude,
lot on that.
$17 worth of Pizza Ranch pizza is a lot of pizza.
Well, but you're not eating just pizza though. I mean, you've got a lot of other stuff that's on
Or
the buffet.
Bread. It's just bread.
Well, no, they have salads, they have chicken, they have mashed potatoes, they have green beans. I mean, they have their salad bar is really good. I mean,
But
that's my go-to on the road.
But if you even bring up green beans in this conversation,
well, you haven't eaten. You about choked when I made you eat a carrot when you were a kid one time. I mean, you probably still have PTSD from that day.
I go to Pizza Ranch for the green beans.
Yeah, I bet you there's somebody out there. The reason I like Pizza Ranch, those damn green beans are really good.
Yeah, but I guess the Pizza Ranch does like bring in the socializing and
Yeah, you actually have to talk to somebody.
yeah, you can dine in.
You don't have to stand in line for
But the thing about
six
Casey's
people deep to get a piece of pizza.
The thing about Casey's is they have built-in dining themselves. You're standing in line eating it.
Yeah, you can finish it before you pay for it. Yeah,
because the 8 workers in the back stocking Doritos and the amount of times I go in the Casey's because you think it's just going to be a fast trip and you stand in line and then you just got to stand behind 4 people that are having scratch-off tickets, getting some cigarettes, figuring out the card reader.
How many things at Fireball they want to buy?
Yeah, just so many things. Like the worker got to figure out how to work his job. He's got to work, Shout out to the workers though.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
It's not their
it's
fault.
that's not we are not ripping on the people that work there whatsoever. But
It's the systems.
there's systems. I mean, the reward system thing takes forever when you have to wait till I don't know. I can go down the rabbit hole with this forever, but I just saw Casey's is expanding south. I think they did about 68 stores in the south now.
And within your lifetime, when did they just start selling scratch-off tickets in the gas
Well, I
stations?
mean, I
When
don't
was that?
think Iowa gambling was legal until the early 80s. That's when the lottery. I mean, I could be wrong. But it used to be. I mean, I remember when I was your age, you could not buy anything but beer in a convenience store. You couldn't buy lottery tickets in a convenience store. You couldn't buy hard liquor during the weekend. You had to go to a state-run liquor store. But now, heck, you can buy everything except meth at a freaking. When Next is coming.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to buy weed at a convenience store. My lifetime, that's going to happen.
Probably the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I can see. So we're going to go down the same road we did with booze. They're going to be a state-run thing, or it's going to be a heavily regulated thing, and then slowly but surely, you're going to have a vending machine at a high school that has weed in it. No, that's probably over the top, but I mean, but it's going to get, it's going to be desensitized to the point where, it's going to be available anywhere. You can still, I didn't realize in Iowa you can buy stuff with THC in it over the counter today.
Really?
I think it's like 5% is what the legal thing is. I mean, because I think I saw somebody has a beer that has THC in it, and they said that the legal concentration doesn't that sound absolutely gross? Is
beer?
No,
beer is gross.
Right. Okay. Beer with with grass in it. And yeah, it just sounds gross. But anyway, I think it's 5%, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I believe in liberty. I believe in freedom and everything else, but there's days that I wonder, do we need more things that you can get screwed up on?
But like the whole argument behind it, like the reason why they don't want to legalize it is because of like you have to go way back when. Obviously, who knows? I'm not too educated on it, but it just seems like things are like that are getting legal more and more.
Well, I mean, it's a historical fact that they demonized marijuana back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and supposedly to kill the hemp industry, which hemp was I'm going to screw this up, but it was a competing product with somebody else. Because there used to be a hemp plant in Humboldt that they would grow hemp and make rope out of it, and they could make fabric out of it, but you also get stoned from it. And then the Nixon put marijuana as a Schedule I drug, which means you can't even do research on it. And so,
wow.
and I mean, when I was a kid, you know, it was just demonized. I mean, it was like you were a freaking loser if you touched the weed. And to this day, I have people saying, you know, I can get pot anytime I want to. I can, you know, wouldn't take me long. I said, you know, I've been around for a long time. You know, I haven't lived a squeaky clean life. I have no idea where if I wanted to get weed today, who I would call. I have no idea. I've always been that way. When in high school, I knew guys that smoked it. I didn't know where they were getting it, but I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think
Yeah,
it's going to be illegal in Iowa. That's just the way it is.
I think a prediction: you'll be like 80 years old, driving in your self-drive Tesla. Yeah, it's gonna happen in your lifetime. We'll like. I guess you just gotta walk her into your Tesla and then get in your car, and they'll take you wherever you want. I feel like that's coming next too.
Yeah.
So I don't know Yeah, how many more when that happens when you don't have to drive and even like you just got to physically get in your car and you don't have to think like how many more will people drink more? Will people do more drugs?
Well, okay, so think back to look at video from the 60s and 50s of high school kids back then, how good a shape they were in. Like the guys that volunteered for World War II. I'm watching a thing on Pearl Harbor right now, and it showed guys, it's on Netflix, it's fantastic. And it shows guys getting in line to volunteer after Pearl Harbor because everybody was so pissed about us getting bombed. There's not a fat guy in line. Everybody, all these high school kids are in phenomenal shape. And so as life has gone away from physical labor, because a lot of these guys are farmers, they're dock workers, whatever, as we've gone away from physical labor and the processed food industry has gone absolutely bananas and you know, everybody's drinking 25 sodas a day and everything. Nowadays, you know, we're just not in good a shape because you have to work at it today if you're going to try to stay in shape. So imagine when we go down the road you just proposed. We don't have to do any work to travel anywhere. We don't have to walk anywhere. Our health is going to get worse.
Yep.
I mean, I've heard this. I listened to this one podcast with a bunch of personal trainers that I've listened to forever, and they say, you know, if you took a guy from the 1800s in a time machine and brought him to today and took him to a gym, say, what are we going to do here? He goes, we're going to work out. He goes, what does that mean? We're going to lift weights. What does that mean? And they called it work back then. I mean, they were actually working is how they got strong and how they stayed in shape.
Like your dad.
My dad, yeah. My dad was...
Your dad wouldn't go to 24 Hours Fitness.
My dad was not overweight until he got older when things got a little more automated. We weren't walking beans anymore. We weren't out in the corn rows pulling corn, volunteer corn and stuff. And, but, you know, I know where we're going with this. I mean, with life getting easier, it makes it harder to stay in shape. That's the reality of it. I mean, if you have a desk job... Everybody out there knows, you know, if you count your steps and you've got 2,000 steps at the end of the day, it's really tough to find time and motivation to do that. And I've done it. I mean, like I said, I was 270 at one point. My lowest is I got down to 180, and it's a commitment, and you got to put the time in. But and I empathize with anybody that's in that battle because I've done it. So
let's bring this back to Iowa State. Like more things
the
to do wrong.
The hemp industry.
It's like, what if Deckers and all those players are? I keep saying Deckers. I'm sorry. I keep saying your last name.
Let's leave Hunter alone. It's
just so he's in my mind because he's still in my mind. I think he's our quarterback.
Yeah, and in his defense, he had a boatload of talent.
Yeah, which I
mean,
I'm saying.
Yeah, that's why you're thinking of it. It's not
what
to
if those
beat
kids
him, not to beat him
got
up.
suspended for smoking pot? I think none of those players would be even suspended right now if they got caught with a failed drug test. I don't know if obviously they would not get ridiculed as much as they have the last summer, especially like I feel like that and like being academically eligible, which doesn't even feel like a term anymore.
Right. When was the last time for anybody being
I'm saying like
eligible?
that used to be the type of trouble you'd get to sit outside, like sit out.
Yeah. So you want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
You know, CBD is a big thing in Iowa now. I mean, there's a lot of CBD shops popping up. And so I'd never been in one before. So I just stopped in one just to see what it was like. And nobody in there, they're explaining it, you know, and it does help. This CBD does help with relaxation and muscle pain and all that kind of stuff. But then the guy said, this stuff has got THC in it. I said, it does? And so then I said, do you follow the same rules as these guys selling beer with it? And they said, yeah. And I go, would that make you fail a drug test? And he said, yes. So a kid could go into one of these places and buy this stuff and fail a drug test, but it's legal, even in Iowa.
Yep.
I mean, that's the thing that, how does Colorado deal with that? In Colorado, pot's been legal forever.
That's a great question.
It's been legal forever. How do they keep kids from not failing drug tests? Because it's still federally illegal.
Yeah,
How do the NFL guys not get in trouble?
I have no idea because I don't think they're even testing in most of the major leagues anymore.
But I mean, God forbid that happens to one of our kids that doesn't understand the law and say, I'm going to just eat this and help me because I'm sore today.
I feel like that one's pretty pounded in their heads. I feel like.
Oh God, I hope so. But if you're told pot's illegal in Iowa, you go into the store that's not advertising you that they're selling pot, but they have stuff that has THC in it that says help you with pain and to relax. Then you take it, then you fail a drug test. And I'm not even talking about football players. I'm talking about a corporate guy. I mean, he wasn't going to tell me that until I asked the question.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of loose cannons out there right now that need to get reeled in. The gambling thing is one of them. The pot thing is one of them. In Oregon, they decriminalized shrooms, for the love of God. I mean, how do you deal with that if you're out there? I mean, so I don't know. There's a lot of stuff down there. I'm glad I'm out of the raising kid age. Then I'm not dealing with teenagers right now.
Yeah,
because I sympathize for you parents out there raising teenagers because it's a different ball game than it was even 10 years ago.
Yep, and especially even like looking forward to this last summer, we've gone through the ringer and the gambling situation. We've weeding through the social media highlights, seeing which player is there, what's not there, to see the rumors are true. And obviously every single rumor seemed to be true, and unfortunately it was.
Oh.
But it just seems like we're ready for the next chapter. We're just sitting there waiting because we're just
waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Yeah,
that's a very Iowa State attitude to have. Yeah. I mean, because we had a lot of shoes that have dropped in our lifetime.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close. We're 2 weeks away. This Saturday's 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks out.
Today is 17 days.
And we've sold a boatload of season tickets again. I mean, I saw Brent Bloom saying how many teams that had 4 losses could. I think we're. Right now, I think Jamie said we're still the second highest number of season tickets in history. Pretty darn good.
Yeah, I saw that Kansas is going to renovate their stadium, and it's still going to be 40,000 fans. They're going to make it less.
Yeah, their stadium looks like it was in the Greek times. It's so old.
But still, whenever Kansas gets good, the media just gets behind them so fast. Yeah. We should have had just as much hype as Kansas football last year. Couple of years, I'm sorry, Iowa State fans. It's just the truth. We're one of the worst football programs in the country
historically. Not
last 25 years.
Not today. Not the last 5 years.
Not the last 30 years. But I'm just saying, we just need. We have Campbell. We have pro NFL player, star NFL players to keep the Iowa State brand going. We just
Hakeem Butler. We haven't talked about him.
Yeah, he's going to be on the Steelers.
Yeah,
and we got plenty to be excited for. And if Iowa State does anything this year, I feel like we're just going to just get around this team 100% and just be so excited.
Bowl game at a warm destination full of Iowa State fans. That's what we need to be talking about 5 months from now.
Yep. All right. Go.
I think we're ready. Remember, soundthesirens.com. Still have plenty of shirts, koozies, all that kind of stuff. Give Thomas a shout out on Twitter. Get those followers up and tell your friends about this. This is one of the podcasts that we are commercial free for a reason. We don't have any commercials. But tell your friends about it. We'd like to grow this, and we don't really want to make any money on it. I've paid for all the shirts. We're just doing that for fun. Have seen Jalen Knoll wearing a Sound the Sirens shirt. Who else did we see wearing one? That was on social media. Jameson Patton, true freshman at Iowa State out of Roosevelt and Ankeny. He was wearing his. So Eli Sanders has. So we've got the black hoodies, got the black T-shirts, got the koozies. I think we might be out of hats. I'm not sure, but and I do have Sound the Siren polos for golf tournaments. So if you're interested, found Sign the Sound, go to soundthesirens.com and we'll get it out to you right away.
All right. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.